You're listening to The David Pakman Show.
Welcome back to The David Pakman Show. If you missed it, Midweek Politics is gone, Lewis. Today is the last time Midweek Politics will be on the air. Next week, we will be back Mondays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, with The David Pakman Show. DavidPakman.com is up. And today on the bonus show, you know what we're going to be talking about? There's been an ongoing situation. I actually had a conversation with Lewis off the air about whether he was going to vote this election or not, because there's been an ongoing issue with Lewis. Bonus show, we'll talk about, did Lewis vote? And if he didn't, I don't actually know yet. He hasn't told me. I've told him not to tell me. There is going to be hell to pay. I'm just warning you right now, Lewis. And also, have we discovered a cure for the common cold? More on the behind the scenes, not safe for work type of election stuff that's going on, and much, much more. So make sure to log on to davidpakman.com/membership. Become a member. It's fantastic. I'm telling you, it's Lewis's entire family just absolutely loves it. Now let's talk a little bit about what is going to happen in the next year, in the next 2 years before the 2012 election. First of all, what can we expect narrative-wise post-election? Here's the things you can expect. You decide whether they're true or not. A lot of these sound silly to me. Number one, Democrats lost because Obama failed to connect with voters, maybe even because he uses a teleprompter. Barack Obama lost a lot of races for Democrats because he is an elitist, or is seen as an elitist. He failed to establish a clear rationale for his agenda. He's too articulate, even though before the election he was just articulate. He's too liberal, or he's not liberal enough, and he should have shown more resolve. Expect to hear any or all of those things in the lead up to the 2012 election. Now, some people didn't fall for that, but some did. And I hate to do it. But again, there were, I don't want to talk about, let's have an honest discussion as we were talking before the show. Let's have an honest discussion about what am I trying to say here? About the awareness of reality of the electorate, of the people who are voting. I mean, we saw people asked, why did you vote for Rand Paul? Well, I thought it was time for a change. A change. That is why you vote for someone who says, you know what, it actually should be okay to have signs saying no blacks allowed outside of a business, or we should abolish the Department of Education. It was time for a change. That's the reason. So here's some of the misconceptions that in talking to voters and looking at exit polls and looking at different polls certainly played into what's going on here. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying Democrats lost because people are stupid. I am not saying that. But in every election, we can look at what people believe and how they vote as a result. And here are some of the things. For example, many people believe that President Obama tripled the deficit. The reality is that Bush's last budget had a $1.4 trillion deficit, and Obama's first budget reduced that to $1.29 trillion. Simply not true, Lewis. But many people believe that. And you know, some of the people you talk to say, hey, the spending, Obama's spending too much.
Right. Well, that's usually what they say about any Democratic president.
President Obama raised taxes, which hurt the economy. The reality is Obama cut taxes. 40% of the stimulus was wasted on tax cuts, which only create debt, which is it was so much less effective than it could have been. The stimulus didn't work. The reality is the stimulus did work. It clearly wasn't enough. Stimulus raised employment by between 1.5 to 3.5 million jobs. People have a hard time with the it wasn't as bad as it would have been logic. I mean, I understand that, Lewis. That's a hard logic to sell as to why you should reward Democrats, is it not?
Right. Well, especially this day and age, considering how polarized everything is.
And then the idea that businesses would hire if they only got tax cuts. You know, the reality is businesses hire the right number of employees to meet the demand for whatever product or service they offer. If you have extra cash, you wouldn't hire. If a business has a demand, all of a sudden, they will find the money to hire. Businesses need customers, not tax cuts.
Right. It's hard to incentivize a small business to do anything if you're government.
You need demand, essentially.
Right.
You essentially need demand. And of course, healthcare reform cost $1 trillion. It actually saved $138 billion. These are not minor points. These matter.
Midweek Politics is made possible by listeners like you and by Greenfield Savings Bank. building a strong community one account at a time, with neighborhood offices in Greenfield, Amherst, Conway, Shelburne Falls, South Deerfield, and Turners Falls, and online at greenfieldsavings.com. By the Daily Hampshire Gazette and gazettenet.com, connecting our communities with local news and information. By DIF Design, specializing in custom business websites at difdesign.com. Find out more about underwriting midweek politics at midweekpolitics.com.